Well, good morning. This is Brad, and I am here in the car on the road here, and I have about a half an hour before everything starts moving in motion. And thank you for yesterday's understanding about yesterday. I was extremely under the weather. I believe this would be one of the after effects of COVID. I had it twice. Many of you have, so I'm not acting as if this is anything special, but I just wanted you to know that some of these things got pretty fatiguing. And so as I shared with the TikTok group this morning, just a little bit ago, that I was taken down and unable to have either a TikTok or YouTube class. So thank you for understanding here, and welcome. We're going to have an abbreviated version today of a half an hour before I get back on the road. And thank you so much. Just things happen like this. We all have limitations, and so I appreciate that. So let's have a brief study, and we'll go to the questions as best I can here. Autumn, hello, Janet. Thank you so much for that kindness there. Karen and Lisa, good morning. Lisa, thank you for your moderator's ministry. It really means a lot. Mark and Melissa and Bowman, good morning to you as well. And Teresa, same thing, for helping out with moderation. I really appreciate that. Darlene, and then we have Owasso back. Good to see both of you here. Trisha, thank you for your prayer on that. And then Detroit is checking in with Vicky. Glad to have you here. Nettie, good morning. And Logs, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. And Amy, I'm glad that you are joining us. Julia, I say hi back to you. And I greet you, Angeline and Cynthia. Thank you that you are here too. And as Lisa says, you're all welcome. We all want to have a good discourse here today. Sherry Lynn, thank you. And thank you, Jenny. That is true. And FV, it's good to see you. Mr. Frank, I'm glad that you are here. George, thank you. Good morning to you. And Daniel, glad that you are here too. And then Johnny is giving a greeting around. Little, good morning to you. Hope, hi once again to you. Naomi, blessings back to you. Brenda, hello once more. Kelly and Nate, thank you for being here. This is very, very kind of you to be here. Terry and Josh checking in from Delaware. Terry, good morning to you. And our good friend from that gorgeous state, West Virginia, Cindy, boy, what a place. And I'm telling you what, I don't think, Cynthia, we can find 5 square feet of flat ground, can we? This is a mountainous region. It's wonderful, wonderful. Coming from the University of Pittsburgh area, my dad went to University of Pitt for years. And of course, the backyard rumble, the backyard brawl between West Virginia U and University of Pitt was a great tradition there. Darlene, thank you so much for that. And thank you for your prayers, Naomi. That means a lot. I really do appreciate that. Dana and Rick, thank you so much. It's very kind. And then Cammie, you are here with us, dear friend. Thank you so much for being here. Abby, glad that you're over here too. And Laura and Heidi, good that you're here. Jay, thank you for coming aboard. And then let's see, we have Blaze and Traveling Man, and he's in Texas this morning. Blaze, thank you for being here. Colorado, Amy, I'm glad you have your coffee ready to go. Good morning, Patricia. And thank you so much. Mesa is checking in. Well, let's go into a study here as we get going. And I had this down here. We were talking about the prophecies as I was talking over in Isaiah 65. Massively, massively powerful prophecies. And when we go into the prophecies and we see these things, you know, when you came on and I put that down, somebody says, well, you know, you talked about prophecies before, and boy, they really help out, and we talked about this, and once again, I want to share this with you. You know, one of the most fantastic things you can see through the scriptures is when somebody says, how can you be, so assured of the Bible's validity, the veracity of the Bible? And the answer is, we know by carbon-14 dating, the ages of the manuscripts. And so we see that a prophecy was here and a fulfillment was here, and it's fantastic. Psalm 22, verse 16, they pierced my hands and my feet. And we're saying, what? Because at the time that was written, 1000 BC, under the inspiration of God through David writing, there was no such thing as crucifixion. And then 1,000 years later, this is fulfilled. Well, the idea of crucifixion wasn't even grasped till the Persians started using this in 200 BC. Romans plagiarized it. The first recorded Roman crucifixion was in 1 AD. Christ would go to the cross in 33 AD on there, piercing my hands and my feet. Verse 18, they gambled on my clothes. And we see the fulfillment of that in the Gospels, Matthew 27:28, Mark chapter 15 and 16, John 19, 20 and 21 also tell us about these. And so, in there we're seeing, these prophecies that are fulfilled, amazing prophecies. Zechariah 11 and verse 12. They are going to betray the Messiah for 30 pieces of silver. What happens in Luke 22? That's exactly what happens. And we go through Micah 5:2, that the Messiah will be born in Bethlehem, Ephrathah, the least of the little towns, about 90 people in population at the time that this was written. And we see, of course, in Matthew, the opening chapters, in Luke chapter 3, you see these, the very same thing, that this is going to be a fulfillment of these prophecies. We have them all over. We go to Isaiah, and we have a prophecy which is not a messianic prophecy. It is a kingdom prophecy, and it will move within the millennial kingdom and the eternal kingdom. And I shared the eternal kingdom in the earlier TikTok time. We had looked at, you will find it in, Isaiah's talking about it in verses 17, 18, and 19 on the millennial kingdom. And then we go over here, in the eternal kingdom. But then I wanted to share some things when we are looking at the millennial kingdom. Now, what's the millennial kingdom? So after Revelation 19, you are going to see what is known as the Battle of Armageddon. Har is the Hebrew word for hill, the hill of Megiddo, Armageddon. All right? It is a watchtower over the battle scene. Megiddo is incredible. Been there twice whenever I was on the pre-COVID, when we used to have a Holy Land tour. And Lord willing, if everything would go well, that is one of my great intents, is in the coming next year, is getting a tour that maybe we can all go on together. Oh man, to stand on Megiddo and look out over the valley of Jezreel, the plain of Esdraelon, and that is the flashpoint of the fight of all ages in Revelation chapter 19, when the rebellious will go, and in the secular thinking, we can overcome God. As it says in Psalm 2, God will laugh. You're going to try to defeat me with the very materials I created. Is there a problem with this picture? And Christ coming down out of heaven, Revelation chapter 19. The destruction is so complete, we don't even see details of it. Christ comes down, and you see the very next verse, the angel stands in the sun and says, it's time for the carrion birds of the world to come and have the great supper of God. It's over. There's no dignity in this. Those rebellious, and just as Satan is thrown forever, tossed into the abyss by an unnamed angel, there's no pride, there's no particular upholding of his personality or theirs. There's not even a burial ground for the rebellious. But for the believer, not only is there an amazing joy, but those that have populated the earth in that time and stayed loyal and survived through, see, over a third of the population through the tribulation, the thlipsis, that's the Greek word, the great pressure of that time, of 7 years of the Antichrist being led earth. But there are those that would not fall, and they stayed loyal through torture, through all of the grievances of the Antichrist and the satanic forces. They will be the initial population of the new millennial kingdom, in which it tells us here in Isaiah chapter 65 on there. So when we take a look at this, I'm move across here and then share in here. And this is a very, very encouraging passage here. But you will move in here, and when I show you this, we go down here. Let me give you an idea. If you want to go to the millennial kingdom description, the 1,000 years on earth when Christ will, in fulfillment of Ezekiel chapter 44, will walk through the gate, break open the eastern gate, and be designated as the king on earth. Jerusalem will now be the capital of this existence here, the capital of the world. Christ will be physically on earth. Now, sin will reign through the 1,000 years. There will still be the temptations and such, even in the absence of the satanic realm. There are people that still want to go their way, and we talk about that in Revelation 20. But during this time, think about this. The initial introduction and an example of the joy of what people will enjoy in heaven. All there. This is an amazing thing. Listen to this. I'll just give you a couple of ideas here just to whet your appetite on this. This is on earth. And then after the millennial kingdom, this will be a joining up into the eternal kingdom, the complete renovation of our existence. Matthew chapter 19, Jesus calls it the renewal of all things. And in there, you're going to see the introduction of the eternal kingdom, Revelation 21, verses 1 and 2, the new heaven and the new earth. And all things are new, verse 5 of Revelation 21 says that. But listen to this. This gives you an excitement. This is kind of like the pre-season of eternal kingdom, and this one here. It tells you here that, I just like reading about this. Listen to this. On there, you start getting the initial promise of things. In her, in this millennial kingdom, a nursing infant will no longer live only a few days, or an old man not live out his days. Indeed, the one who dies at 100 years old will be mourned as if it was a young man, and the one who misses 100 years will be considered cursed. Not saying sinful curse, it's just saying this. People will live so long, it will take you back to the pre-flood days. People will live massive amounts of time, and it will start teasing you to the idea of the eternal life to come. It's talking about longevity here on this earth. People will build houses and live in them. Have you ever seen this on some different news items about people squatting, coming into somebody's house, or someone breaking in? What it says here, there is total. You don't have to worry about alarm systems. You're going to build a house, and you're going to live in the house that you built, your own domain. Now remember, in the eternal kingdom, Jesus builds the dwelling places. So there's one of the differences between the millennial kingdom and the eternal kingdom. Can you imagine God himself making the home, the wonderful home here for you? All right, they will plant vineyards and eat their fruit. In other words, your domain is given to you. Once again, individuality in God's kingdom. You are not nameless and faceless. And this is a hint as to one of the joys in here too. You will have the fruits of your labors to you under the blessing of God. Okay? They will not build and others live in them. They will not plant and others eat. For my people's lives will be like the lifetime of a tree. My chosen ones will fully enjoy the work of their hands. Isn't that something? What a satisfaction when we do things and we're able to sit back and look at it. When I'm back home, this is a minor thing, but whenever I was able to start working on the barn, we're making it into a recording studio. And when I get back here, I'm going to work on that in earnest now that the weather has changed. And it's just good. Even if it's a corner, we put the subflooring down, and it's just a satisfaction seeing that. I went out and we had a scarring, the new house that we built. They tore up a tree, And the Carolina red clay, there's a big, massive clay scar in the front when people were coming down the road in our country road. Well, I just slowly, over the couple of weeks, just started adding flowers and flowers. And now we have a flower garden. It's just nice every once in a while. I'll just walk down the lane there to go get the mail. And I'm sitting back and saying, yeah, this is the way that I designed it. I really am happy on that. I hope it's not pride in the bad way. But, hey, there's a satisfaction. This is what I planned for it to look like, and it's coming out okay. And we have many things. Some of you are writers and artists and creators and architectural in your thinking and in your design. And when you do this, there's a satisfaction in seeing this. And this is what it's telling you in heaven under the joy of the Lord. You say, Lord, Father, Yahweh, I did this for you. You like the way I did this? It's kind of like when some of my friends, they'll make a birthday cake, and they've made it. And how we're just saying, look at the design. Did you like it? Someone else has made a craft for somebody at Christmas or a birthday time. And they will say, hey, listen, did you like it? Do you like that? Or there's a sewing. My sister's a seamstress, and she'll make things, and she'll always say, did you like it? Did you like? And that's the way. Yahweh, I did this for you. Did you like it? And there's a great excitement there, okay? My chosen ones will fully enjoy the work of their hands. Oh, what a great promise here. Now, one more thing. I like this, too. Even before they call, I just really, really like this. Listen to this. Even before they call, I will answer. While they're still speaking, I will hear. And when it says this, there's so much more we can say about the Millennial Kingdom, but the access to God is going to be amazing. Yeah, I think about Daniel chapter 9. Daniel's praying, and in his sincere talk with the Lord, Gabriel comes down and is right at his shoulder. And you can imagine Daniel just shocked, and Gabriel, and I paraphrase greatly, but you can read it in Daniel chapter 9. He says, your prayer, Daniel, was so precious that I was at the throne of God. I was next to the Lord, and he says, go down. And let's answer this prayer right now. That's an immediate answer. Daniel hadn't even finished the prayer. Okay, so when you take a look at this, it tells you this too. The communication with Yahweh will be so powerful that while you're even in the midst of talking, he's going to answer. Even in the midst of asking, it will be there. All right? Okay, let me take the last 10 minutes here, and let's go to some questions, and I'll take them in the order. And I appreciate your patience here. If you want to go, if you're new to the ministry here, and you've come in. Again, I apologize. I wasn't able to make it yesterday because of sickness. But if you're new here, we're going to just plan tomorrow just to have this same time. 8:30 to 9 on TikTok, and then 9 to 9:30 till I can get recovered fully on this. And I hope you understand that too. But we'll just do the same thing tomorrow here. So I'm going to go on. If you want to get some more detailed answers, the podcast is Questions About Heaven with Brad on the different Buzzsprout, Spotify, and those places too. All right, let me go through and see if we have some questions here. And if I can help in any way, I sure would be glad to. Take them in order. And thank you for your encouragement. And yes, we do this every weekday. This is a week that I'm just trying to recover here and get things organized. And so this is a bit different, but yes, we do this every weekday. I think somebody had asked that question on that. All right. And then, Johnny, I am looking forward very much to seeing you in July. You'll see it on our new website. We'll have the calendar and the designated places. I will be let me see if I can remember this right. Emmanuel starts with an E, because Emmanuel is spelled with an I or an E. Emmanuel, E-M-M. Emmanuel Baptist Church in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I will be there on July 9th, Sunday to July 9th, and that is with Pastor Steve Crews, C-R-E-W-S. If you'd like to write them and then ask about that. And then the rest of that week, I will be over in Pittsburgh. I will be in a family's house, one of my relatives, Rosemary, dear cousin, and she has a prophet's chamber, and I will be there during the course of the week. Then we're going to have our family over there. I'll be over in Butler, and then I will be speaking in the Pittsburgh area. So I'll let you know the different places as they come through, too. All right. Richmond, Indiana, Autumn, you said there's a toxic fire. Oh, yes, I did read about that. Let's keep Prayer for Autumn and those around there. It just came through last night on my news feed as I was getting my head together here, and I was seeing that. Be in prayer for those in Richmond. That the fire is very dangerous. Okay, let's see. Moving on through here. Okay, Nate, I didn't realize was an actual place. Armageddon. Okay, will God be the only one to watch this battle? Do all of those in heaven witness to? No, the actual site of that in Revelation 19. We will follow the Lord in that battle. The believers of heaven will come down to watch this battle as if we're part of the army, but the Lord himself, Jesus, will actually perform the battle, but we will witness this. Yes, it is in the valley of Jezreel, which is a literal place right now. You'll see it stretched for hundreds of miles. The plain of Esdraelon is in the middle, which right now is an absolutely gorgeous fruit-bearing area. I've been there, as I said, and the vegetation there, the fruits are just wonderful, and a place of great beauty and peace will be the location of one of the not one of the greatest battle in terms of magnitude there. It has been, Plain of Esdraelon has been scene of numerous battles. You can see it in secular history as well. All right. Thank you so much. Look at Teresa writing down these different references. Boy, you are absolutely spot on here. And then Godfrey, yes, we do this every weekday morning on TikTok at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. All of the times are Eastern Standard Time, okay? All right. David, then what I need you to do, David, because of the contacts, the communications I have, I believe that somebody had written my email down. If you would do that, David, then I'll be glad to do anything I can to help you, okay? All right. All right, let's see. Jose, I've seen demons and they are really ugly, evil looking in different forms. Is that all the way they really look? Is it a shape they choose to take? The demonic realm were formerly angels. Revelation 12 gives us the hint that when Lucifer had fallen, he took a third of the angels with him on there. When we see their appearance, it can be in any ways. They are deceiving. They can be grotesque through the scriptures, but we can also see them as disguised. And so there is no default appearance of them, but they are something where we stay totally away from any of that. Will there be a new Bible? No, Lori, the Bible says, the scripture itself says, it will remain constant. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will not pass away. We will see this. And just as Jesus is known as the Logos, the Word himself, from those teachings and expanding on, we will have that. But as far as, well, I can kind of see what you're saying here, but are we going to be giving a new manual, a new, the existing word will still be eternal. Now, will there be new teaching to enhance the believer? Yes, absolutely. Would it ever be in contradiction with the Bible? No, absolutely not. But there will be new teaching. We are taught, like Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 10, all things will be under Christ, and that phrase intimates that things will be brought together in an explanation and clarity from earth. All right. Okay, Jenny says, my grandson asked Sunday why the disciples had trouble believing he was alive when they saw him raise Lazarus from the dead. Well, this is one of the grand puzzles in Mark, for example. When you go through Mark and you see these, it seems the more that Jesus showed his deity, the more perplexed that the disciples became, and the more antagonistic the world became in the face of that. Think of it also like in the Millennial Kingdom. For 1,000 years, Christ is showing, well, he's going to live for 1,000 years as well on earth, on there, and people are totally unimpressed by this. But in here, the disciples themselves have seen things, but you also see being just a people of fallen nature. Then it even says, see, Jesus says to Peter, Peter, you are going to, speaks of his death, And I mean, not only of Christ's death, but Peter's impending ministry and the persecution. And right in the middle of this, and he says, well, now, Peter, you are going to have your hand stretched out, which is also in there in secular teaching. Stretching out is talking about a crucifixion. Peter, you're going to be crucified as well. I'll have to teach you that maybe later on this week. Well, what's Peter do? He turns around and looks at John and goes, well, what about him? And you're kind of like, okay, Peter, Jesus is talking to you very intimately. Why are you getting distracted? In Acts chapter 1, before Jesus leaves and ascends into heaven, the disciples actually ask him, okay, God, let me ask you something right now. This is like, within a handful of minutes, and he's going to be ascending into heaven. They go, okay, are you going to restore the kingdom now? And you're kind of like, do these guys ever get it? But we do see this with the demonic forces will never give up their battle. And within there, as they took down Judas Iscariot, who was in the presence of Jesus, and still, I mean, do you think, Jenny, tell your grandson, do you think that Judas Iscariot saw Jesus break bread and fish and feed him to 5,000? Yes, he did. He actually carried the baskets. Okay, did he hear the Sermon on the Mount of Matthew 5:6? He certainly did. And the man totally betrays Christ. So you see, Jesus is God. Man is fallen. And even at that time, we will see the foibles of the human existence even then. That's why we go to the grace of God for salvation, and we look to him for forgiveness. 1 John 1:9 as well. Surely I will be in Pittsburgh the second week of July. Well, following July 9th. July 9th through, I think it's the 16th, I'll be there. And I will let you know where specifically I will be as we're arranging the Bible studies and the churches there. If somebody is in the Pittsburgh area and you say, hey, look, our church could open up the doors on a Tuesday or a Thursday or something like that, we're arranging it right now. Rosemary is arranging some. But if somebody says, hey, come on over here, I am more than willing, and I will just tell you one more time, I do not charge. I don't charge. If the Lord wants me to be with you, then we will get together. All right. I see. Let me see. I'll take one more question here as I see time is up here. Brad, if those we love who are already in heaven are not part of the Millennial Kingdom, what does that mean for us who are still alive at the time of the rapture? Will we be reunited with them? Well, you're going to be going to heaven as well. Okay? We will not, as I see the scriptures, when we go to heaven, we stay in heaven. Those who go through the tribulation will stay on earth. So, when you say already and they're not part of the Millennial Kingdom, we will join them at the rapture. The rapture is before the tribulation, which would then be itself before the Millennial Kingdom. So you'll be in heaven with them. Friends, I've got to go. It is 9:30, and I've got to move on here. I thank you so very, very much for the time we've been able to have. I apologize once again for not being able to be on yesterday. Physical limitations prevented me from being on here. And then right now, as even I'm talking to you, there's a fatigue factor here, so I've got to still recover. But I appreciate you all so very, very much. If you'd like to know more about our ministry, our temporary website, which gives you, this one is obviously under construction, and the one that we're preparing for, I'm very excited, the heaventour.com will be available. But the temporary one right now, if you'd like to see it, it is Xulon.org, Xulon, Xulon.org. That would be available. And so thank you so much for all of your care, your kindness. Moderators, thank you for very much for being able to just watch over everything and take care. I noticed here, and then Shirley, if you're looking to set up a place for us to be able to go to, contact me, not Rosemary. Contact me at Xulon.org or theheaventour.org, Brad at theheaventour.org, okay? And thank you so much for your prayers. I appreciate it, and we'll get right back into it tomorrow. If you have some questions for me to deal with, I will post a couple of things here today on YouTube and TikTok later on tonight, okay? God bless you. I appreciate you so very, very much. This is Brad here in South Carolina on the road. God bless you, and Lord willing, We'll talk soon.